strengthen Al-Qaeda? How does that
Okay, I'm gonna stop this video here just to show you that it's the same video as I'm gonna view here because this one gives me problems. But then I'm gonna go over this article after we go through this little video. Al-Qaeda in Yemen rebukes ISIS.
strengthen Al-Qaeda? How does that work?
Because
Let's back it up.
Start with you. If you weaken ISIS, you strengthen Al-Qaeda? How does that work?
Okay. Such bullshit. This ISIS Al-Qaeda story is so fucking convoluted, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, you got ISIS is Al-Qaeda. It came out of Al-Qaeda. They work together. They don't work together. They hate each other. Blah, blah, blah. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Because the two of them are competitor organizations. ISIS was kicked out of Al-Qaeda at the beginning of February, and since then it has pretty aggressively made bids to get affiliates of Al-Qaeda and others within the organization to join it. In fact, some analysts believe that it has surpassed Al-Qaeda as the leader of global jihad, although I'm very suspicious of those claims.
So he's suspicious of those claims. Well, sir, I'm suspicious of you, David Gardenstein Ross. Foundation of Defensive Democracies. Now let's see who this guy is. Okay, areas of impact. I think that's fun, kind of a funny way to word it. So sub-Saharan African, North African, radicalization. So he impacts radicalization, the global war on terrorism, Somalia, Islamism, homegrown terrorism. He impacts that. Pakistan, Iraq, Al-Qaeda. He impacts Al-Qaeda and Afghanistan. Energy security. He's a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defensive Democracies and an adjunct assistant professor at Georgetown University's Jesuit University, by the way. Security Studies program focuses his research on the challenges posed by violent non-state actors. He specializes in the study of Al-Qaeda. He is the author of, or volume editor of 14 books and monographs, including Bin Laden's Legacy. So we know this guy's full of shit, since the whole Bin Laden deal is full of fucking shit as far as the so-called official narrative. Works for all these newspapers. Let's see. He's presented his research, all these things, and where's the one? The Interdisciplinary Center Hazilia in Israel. If you can't tell just by the name, he's a Jew, and I'm not against Jews, but I do not like the Israeli government and their intelligence operations all that much. So this guy also teaches the Catholic University of America. What do you know? University of Maryland, USC, whatever that is, institution. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the word right now. Holds a PhD from the Catholic University of America in world politics, typical, and senior fellow at George Washington University's Homeland Security Policy Institute, and a visiting research fellow at the International Center for Counterterrorism, The Hague. Full of shit propagandist. We're going to go more. So if you didn't know that this guy is bullshit because the war on terror is bullshit, well, there you go. So back to the video.
But by targeting ISIS, it creates an incentive for people to go back to Al-Qaeda. That's because moving forward, the U.S. is probably going to pretty narrowly target ISIS. Leaving ISIS puts people on firmer footing, but particularly when ISIS's leadership is degraded, which the U.S. strikes will certainly do.
Okay, so Paul, what does that mean? We shouldn't be hitting ISIS because goodness knows we don't want to strengthen Al-Qaeda?
Well, the United States is hitting both ISIS.
Okay. We shouldn't be hitting ISIS. Now, if they're against each other, if they're really a threat to America, wouldn't it be great to let them destroy each other? Too bad that's not really the case. They're CIA, Al-Qaeda, Mossad, MI5 controlled. But that's another story. Now let's listen to this douchebag.
Al-Qaeda, the Khorasan group, Jabhat al-Nusra in Syria. So in a sense...
Oh, wait. What he's saying is bullshit, and here's why. Oh, where is he? No. Right here. Okay, this is that guy, Paul Cruikshank. CNN's head or terrorism analyst, or not necessarily head, but here's one of the important things here. Whoops, I missed it in the first paragraph. He was part of the CNN reporting team that covered the London July 7, 2005 attacks, the subway bombings that were a fucking false fucking flag. It does not take much to find some good research on that on YouTube at very least. So by that, we can gather that this guy's full of shit.
Weakening both, I think, the Greater Dane and Al-Qaeda, the Khorasan group.
Because we don't want to strengthen Al-Qaeda.
Well, the United States is hitting both ISIS and Al-Qaeda, the Khorasan group, Jabhat al-Nusra in Syria. So in a sense, it's weakening both. I think the greater danger is because of these strikes against both groups, that the groups could find some sort of common cause, that they could at least stop fighting each other in Syria. That's a very worrying prospect if they could kind of pool resources at some point in the future. We've seen other Al-Qaeda affiliates in the region, in North Africa and Yemen, call for Al-Qaeda and ISIS to patch up their differences and to focus on hitting the United States.
Ooh, be scared. They're just selling you the bullshit war on terror as usual. Let's go on.
Well, so we have been discussing exactly, how strong is ISIS? Is their strength real? Has the media been overplaying that? Let's talk to us about Khorasan. How strong is Khorasan?
Strong as the CIA wants them to be. Don Lemon, you fucking fraud.
This is a pretty small group, Don, maybe a dozen or more, a few dozen fighters, but this is Al-Qaeda's A-team. These are veteran Al-Qaeda operatives who've been in the game for more than a decade, have a lot of expertise, experience, all sorts of contacts, and they're trying to recruit Westerners in Syria, Western militants there for plots back in the West. And it doesn't take a very large amount of these militants to put together sophisticated plots in the West.
Yes, it does. They have to get fucking weapons. Where the fuck are they going to get weapons from? Huh? Oh, maybe militaries that have weapons, like the United States, Britain, and Israel? Well, they're just fucking bullshit.
That was just 19 hijackers. We've seen other plots since with fewer amounts of plotters. And Al-Qaeda in Yemen had a pretty small external operations division, just a few dozen people at most, and they were able to put together several plots against US aviation, Don.
You just say a dozen people and they're able to put together several plots against US aviation. Seriously? That's basically the end of that one. So let's go back to the article. Okay, so this whole thing has to do with al-Baghdadi, the ISIS leader, who is this guy in front of a green screen giving a bullshit fucking speech, and he's fucking CIA Mossad agent and shit, and he's given a speech that's recorded here. Where is this at? So when he declared in an audio tape released last week that his Islamic State had expanded to Yemen as well as other Middle Eastern countries, it was too much for the Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP leadership to stomach. Of course, they're just using these initials and stuff, these acronyms like ISIS, IIS, IS. I've actually heard it pronounced like that, or ISIL, or fucking retarded. By claiming Yemen for his caliphate, al-Baghdadi called into question the very right of AQAP to exist as a separate and autonomous jihad group, leaving its leadership no choice but to push back. We do not want to talk about the current dispute and the sedition in Syria. However, our brothers in the Islamic State surprised us with several steps, including their announcement of the caliphate, and they announced the expansion of the caliphate in a number of countries which they have no governance, and consider them to be provinces that belonged to them. Al-Nadhari stated, according to a translation by the Site Intelligence Group. Oh, the Site Intelligence Group, run by Rita Katz, who are full of fucking shit. See, this is the same Rita Katz who released the Steve Sotloff video early, accidentally, or some shit like that, and they've released numerous Bin Laden videos, some of which have not even been Bin Laden. It doesn't take much to search that. I don't have time right now. I suggest you do if you don't know about this. She's a fucking Israeli Mossad agent, okay, and she's full of fucking shit. Look into her. I highly recommend it. So, of course, got site involved. It's bullshit. Those fucking beheadings were fake, and we're gonna jump to that here now. I'll leave a link for this article if you want to read the rest of it.
Glossy productions of the and unlike the glossy productions of the past, at least some of the latest footage appears to be more hastily produced in the latest ISIS video, leading some experts to believe that ISIS is getting desperate. CNN national security analyst Bob Baer going as far to say that this one indicates these guys are on the run.
They're getting desperate.
So joining me now is David
Bullshit.
Roos, Senior Fellow Foundation for Defense of Democracies.
It's this guy again, and he looks like he's sitting on a fucking dildo.
David, thanks for coming on. There are some meaningful differences in this video with Peter Pasek compared to the other beheading videos. What struck you?
The most striking difference is the fact that it doesn't show the beheading on camera. ISIS as an organization likes to draw out the horror, and that's why with previous Americans they beheaded, each of these were released as a standalone video. Here you don't get to see that at all. Instead it's tacked on to the end of basically a 13-minute propaganda video that's focusing on other matters. One of the things that this leads me to conclude is that it's most likely that in some way Kasich disrupted the beheading scene.
Bullshit. The beheadings are fake, and no, disrupted the fucking beheading scene.
We know that in the past they've staged mock executions prior to actually killing people.
So he just admitted that the fucking beheadings were fake. They're mock executions. Fuck bullshit. The blood was fake. People have had their fucking videos deleted breaking down how fake they are, okay? Including how to fake the beheading itself. I believe that was Zendrius. I think Red Pill Revolution has it on his channel, though. A reposting of it that didn't get deleted, but maybe that's gone now. I'm not sure.
They did this, for example, with James Foley.
Who is not James Foley. James Foley does not talk with his upper lip like in that video. James Foley does not move his upper lip when he talks. And he has a more... the jaw is bigger. I can't think of the words.
The reason why is they only have one cut to get a beheading exactly right.
One cut.
They want the person to be submissive, defeated, and ultimately slaughtered. And if the person resists, as Kasich may have, then that disrupts their shot.
Now the funny thing is with the Sotlov beheading, he appeared to resist. Probably because the grinding of the rubber knife against his neck kind of was uncomfortable. He got up from his knees, or tried to, like, lifted up one leg to get up off of his knees, started pushing back towards the guy, but they were probably just really trying to show an attempted struggle, you know, just to make you think it's more real.
And it was interesting also because in the other videos, the horrific videos, the beheadings and the prisoners are really the centerpiece of it. But this was at the very end of a long video talking about sort of the history of ISIS and then showing other beheadings. And at the very end, Kasich, what do you make of that? What do you think the calculation was here to be?
And what you're going to hear is bullshit.
Like I said, I think it's because something went wrong when they were killing him. That's why it's really an afterthought to a video that's focusing on other matters. I think that they, ideally, for them, would like it to have been its own video. Second thing that's worth noting at the very end is ISIS has been well known amongst analysts and people following the releases for having very high production values. In particular, they often have multiple camera angles. And here at the very end, when you have that very awkward jihadist locution by Kasich's head, there's only a single camera. One thing this suggests is that they may be concerned about airstrikes. That's why they don't have two cameras out there. That's why they don't have the beheading outdoors. These are possibilities worth considering, but we don't know, I would caution, enough into their strategic thinking as to this video.
So if they don't have the beheading outdoors, then they're indoors in front of a green screen, maybe, which most of them looked like. Oh yeah, all of them looked like that. There was a discrepancy between Jihadi John in the background, but also the multiple camera angles is a bunch of fucking horse shit too. And there's this talk of the lack of use of multiple camera angles. He's referring to the head at the feet of Jihadi John, which is when it actually goes up, it doesn't like pan up, it switches up to Jihadi John's upper body and stuff, where, you know, he's doing his usual bullshit, and they have multiple angles, and it appeared to me that there were different backgrounds for the multiple angles, so there were multiple cameras during his speech, because it was a continuous audio feed. So more bullshit. And there's no positive identification of the head being Kassig's head, Kassig. Search that video out. I'm sure it's still somewhere on the internet, just not on YouTube. It's been censored heavily as always.
Right. It's all really a guessing game right now. But you did make a good point, because that has been said that perhaps Kassig didn't cooperate. You know, when you watch the other videos, you just wonder what was going through their minds when they the prisoners so calmly talked to the camera before they were beheaded.
Which makes no fucking sense. If you're about to be beheaded, you're not going to talk calmly. You're going to be scared as fuck. Possibly the only people that would be able to talk calmly are hardened military veterans.
You wonder if there was sort of mock beheadings going on before that and what they were going through. So the bottom line is we just don't know. But another theory is that perhaps ISIS is trying to build bridges with al-Nusra in Syria. There has been some reporting on that, David. Do you think that could have played in at all to how this video was produced?
As one point made about mock executions, this is something we actually do know occurred in Foley's case. CNN has reported on that. And that's important because that helps to explain exactly why people are so calm before they're beheaded. Because
no, it doesn't. Oh yeah, they're tricking them into... Why the fuck would they do that? Like, that's fucking ridiculous.
They've been walked through this multiple times. As to the reconciliation between Nusra and ISIS, this is something that's very important to watch. My own read on this is that one of the major reasons that the reconciliation talks are occurring is because ISIS is in a weakened state such that it sees it as advantageous to at least eliminate one of the fronts that it's fighting on. If so, then there's still no love lost between Nusra and Al-Qaeda on the one hand and ISIS on the other. My thinking is that all these organizations, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, would like to play, ISIS and Nusra would like to play each other. Al-Qaeda also wants to play ISIS.
It's so convoluted, he can't even get the fucking words right.
As to whether this video plays into that, I don't think that it does. If you look at the initial video, it's very much taking ISIS's view of the history of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, which is very different than Al-Qaeda's own history. So it doesn't suggest to me that the video plays into reconciliation efforts.
Let me just quickly ask you this, David, in a nutshell. Do you think the U.S. efforts with the strikes, the drone surveillance, made a difference here, and that's why perhaps in some parts the quality of the video isn't as good, and we're not seeing the same in this video as we saw in videos past?
I do think it's a possibility at the very end that might be a reason they don't have multiple cameras out there, because
they did have multiple cameras out there, just they didn't use them for the shot of the alleged head of Kassig.
It could be a giveaway for any sort of airstrikes. But again, I caution that it's unclear, but I certainly think that possibility is raised.
All right, okay. Debbie Gardenstein.
Bunch of bullshit. Now, they didn't even talk about the mass beheading that occurred. Well, it's a video like 16 minutes long. It occurred at about 8 minutes long, where the Jihadi John and all these unmasked guys were leading all these, what were they, Syrian Air Force guys or something, in a line. Holding the back of their collars, and they had this bucket full of knives where they had numerous camera angles and numerous special effects, slow down and background music and noise effects to make it seem like more dramatic, like a movie and shit. And even while they were doing the fake beheading, mass beheading, they continued those such effects, and even had a very cinematic scene with Jihadi John like looking back up at the camera like he's all sinister and shit. Bunch of bullshit, okay? It was CGI blood. It was completely fucking fake. Even the way the knife goes through this. I've seen a real fucking beheading, okay? It's not the way it looks. It is not. Fucking... Oh, ridiculous. I mean... if not for the fake blood, it would have been pretty good movie trickery and the movement of the knife and stuff, because it was like there was no resistance. And even if that knife's super sharp, there's resistance there, and there's also a spine there. Okay. Even the gore inside of the neck that seemed like it was inside of the neck is CGI. Take a good look at it. Search it on YouTube. And this is the article that I found the video in. This is the video. Paused it right before the point where they start doing the mass beheading. All this stuff over here is the so-called propaganda video. Then right around here is when Alan Kasich is there. Here's the URL up here. Let's just search this urgent video. Peter Kasich beheaded ISIS-16 Syrians. Since I had to go through a few channels to get to this in the bad search I did, but bunch of bullshit, man. Fucking green screen, okay? And this is one of the multiple angles that it's shot at right here. You'll see if you actually watch the video. I need tacos and burritos to live.